Good afternoon. Welcome to EduSet Network. Friend, as you know, today we are going to discuss developmental sociology, and the precise topic is changing dimension in sociology of development. We'll try to understand the different paradigms of development and its relation in society. How does it have impact and vice versa? And for discussion on this great topic, we have in the studio Dr. B.K. Patnaik. He is a professor of developmental study in the School of Extension and Developmental Study in Indira Gandhi National Open University, premier institution in the education through distance learning mode. And Professor Patnaik has published 7 books, and he has written many articles for different national and international journals. And he has been visiting various countries for interacting with the development issues and getting to know what the different development parameters are being followed and in different other development countries. So he has quite long experience and also completed 26 projects in developmental study, and presently looking after the MA program in developmental study, development and extension studies run by the Indira Gandhi National Open University. So I think his knowledge and experience will help us to understand this topic, changing dimensions in sociology of development. So on behalf, I welcome Patnaik for EduSet lecture on this very topic. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Now we start, sir.
Let us, because as you know, the development is a very, very exciting concept. And it is a very dynamic concept, and everybody talks of development. Before talking of the sociology of development, let us think what is the development itself, and when it came, how it came, and why development is more important in the world as a whole. Everybody, every individual, the political person, the economist, the social scientist all talk of the development. Even common man also talk of development. But development is a talking term, but rather than it is less understood what is development itself. So development when came, because after the Second World War and when particularly the third world countries, they were free from the colonial rule. Before them, the growth was not a very important, because economic growth, because before that the development was mostly treated as economic development, and economic development largely was measured in terms of economic growth, national income, per capita income, all these things. But after the Second World War, when all the African countries, the Asian countries freed from the colonial rule, before them it was not the income and growth was not important. Rather, before them there was a host of problems: illiteracy, ill health, insanitation. There were social problems also, like violences. Then that led to the entire concept of development was changed after the Second World War, and the concept of development was more associated with the third world countries or the developing countries. For them, development is not one single dimension like economic development. It has several dimensions. As Professor Gunnar Myrdal, I quote, he has defined in Asian drama what is development: the upward movement of the whole social system by providing better living conditions, adequate food, better housing, improved facilities for health, education and training, and the general improvement of the cultural facilities, which are all desirable. This is a comprehensive definition given by the Gunnar Myrdal. So from this definition we can come to the development has different dimensions, and those dimensions that we can call first the economic dimensions, which is measured in terms of national income, economic growth rate. then per capita income, and then we have the social dimensions, because social dimensions is also equally important in the third world countries, particularly the Asian countries and the South Asian countries, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, all these countries. It is very important because this society is a more stratified society where caste, ethnicity, then religion plays a very important role in development itself. So social development, mostly the social development dimensions covered education, health. Then we have women empowerment, how women plays the important role in development process. Then a development of the backward caste and class. In case of India is a scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and backward minorities, and youth in the role of youth in development. So all these 3-4 dimensions are important dimensions of social development. If we look after a nation state which look after all these dimensions, 4-5 dimensions, it has greater social development. So to say, the Center for Council for Social Development have developed a social development index taking into consideration all these dimensions. So if you see that, I am giving an example, if you see that if anybody, for a common man, if you can say which is the developed state, the immediate answer will come that Haryana and Punjab are the developed state. Actually they are economically developed state. If you see that the holistic development, that is the Kerala. If you see that their education, their health, and their sanitation, their access to drinking water, road, connectivity, all these things, if you compare to the Kerala, most of their indicators, social development indicators, can be compared with the developed nations of the Europe, like Finland, Sweden, and also US. And if you in the Asian country also, if you check the social development, the Sri Lanka having all the dimensions, social dimensions of development are better as compared to Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and all these South Asian countries. So these are the social dimensions. And then we have the human development dimensions. After 1990, when the human development report was published by UNDP, then human development became a crucial factor in overall development. It influences also economic development, that which we usually have a notion that it is development and growth, but development and growth are not the same, because we can have better growth rate, but you may not have better development. I will give an example. In 2011, Bihar had a very near about, as you know, 11 to 12% growth rate, where Punjab for the last so many years they have the 7, 8, 9% growth rate. Can you say that Punjab is less developed than Bihar? No. So like that also, for the, if you see the indicators of Japan, growth rate of Japan is even less, minus 1.6 in 2011. And if you see the growth rate of India, China, and all those countries, they are quite higher, because it is 7 to 8%, and in case of China 9-10%. Can we say that Japan is less developed than compared to India and China? No. So growth and development are, growth is more of a quantitative dimensions, which is compared to the economic dimensions of development. But development is a multi-discipline, what I can call multi-dimensional concept. It has economic dimensions, as I told you, the social dimension, the human dimensions. And human dimensions, human development indicator, as you know, it is measured by the life expectancy, it is the health component, then education, literacy of the person, and the income, per capita income. These are the 3 major indicators of human development. And if you'll see that human development index in India, Kerala occupies several human development index calculated for the several years. It is found that human development index, if you'll see the years, certain year 2011, the Human Development Index of Kerala is in terms of rank it is 1, where the Haryana occupies the 17th position. If you see in terms of economic development, in terms of income, per capita income and state domestic product, the Haryana is much higher as compared to Kerala. But in case of social development indicator, I am giving one example of life expectancy. If a particular child born today in Haryana, he will survive, or he will up to 66 years. If the same child born in Kerala, she will, same girl child, she will survive up to 76 years. That means 10 years more than that of the Haryana. In same case of the infant mortality rate in Kerala is 11 per 1,000 infant birth in a year. But if you see the Kerala, Haryana, it is 55. It is 5 times more than that of the Kerala. So also the access to sanitation, 95%, around 95% of the household in Kerala have access to toilet, but it is not so in Haryana. In terms of literacy also, women literacy, it is 92% in Kerala. In case of Haryana, it is 67%. So if you see the social development indicator, it is the certain states, particularly the southern states of India, they are quite high. Ahead of the northern India state of Punjab. And so this is what is the different dimensions of social development. Then we have the cultural dimensions of development, social and cultural dimensions of development. Because as you know, the cultural economy is a great economy, because most of the cultural products even have a high value. And I'm telling why culture is very important in development. Because I'm giving an example. You might be knowing that the Naxalism problem, it is in Chhattisgarh, it is in Orissa, it is in Jharkhand. Why it is not in Punjab and Haryana? Because Punjab and Haryana are states with zero tribal population. And whereas the Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand or Odisha, they have the sizable number of tribal population. They have this, here we can have the Punjab has near about 10 years of terrorism, because this problem of Punjab, this social problem and extremist problem Punjab, and that of the Orissa and Chhattisgarh, where tribal population is different. Why Naxalism is there? Why Naxalism not in other states? Because we have neglected the development. One of several studies says that we are not our development program particularly are not tuned to the cultural ethics and the cultural process of development of the tribal areas. So if we want to really develop the tribal areas, we must work in tune to their cultural and social cultural development. We must respect to their culture. We must promote development within their culture. We should not thrust upon our modern culture or something. Yes, we can do, but within the and we have to take their community leader, their panchayat, and their women group, youth group into consideration while we have developed. That's why because of less development, because several studies have shown that and development not in tune with the cultural ethics of the tribal areas, we have a problem of Naxalized in those areas. So this is what is called cultural development. So cultural developments, we must have to respect their food habits. Suppose Punjab is very rich. They have their song, they have their drama, they have their language. So we have to preserve all those things, because they play a very important role in development. Language, dress code, food habits, all these things. So we must pay respect to the cultural development. We have an entire UN report, UNDP report on culture and development. So culture has a very strong dimensions in development. Then we have another dimension, political dimensions of development, because we sometimes, because now our entire world is moving towards democracy, because democracy and several studies have shown that democracy and development are more interrelated. Of course, it is not concretely grounded, but it is being said that if you have democratic system, then we'll have definitely good development. And when we call the democratic system, because then again come to the governance. If we have governance, and if you'll see the corruption index, all the Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, they stand high in corruption index. Their rank is very high because corruption is less there. If you'll see the South Asian, so Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, all those countries, they rank very low in corruption index. This means we have bad governance. So political developments believe in good governance, then stability, political stability. If you have political stability, we will have more development. So all these political angles of development is also critical to development. Then we call the inclusive development. This is another very important dimensions of development, because when we launch any development, or we have any development program and any development process, everybody, all must be included, be it scheduled caste in the Indian context, be it scheduled caste or scheduled tribe or women or minorities. They must be included, they must contribute. They should not be the beneficiary of development, rather they should contribute towards development. And all the organizations at the grassroots level, those who are the actors of development, because now the actors are many. Early, when we started the process of development, we had two actors, mainly market and government. But now there are many actors. We have, after the Bretton Woods, we have international organizations like World Bank, IMF, UNDP, UNICEF, and there are several SIDA, JICA, bilateral organizations. They are playing very important role in development, social and economic development. World Bank funding many projects in health and education, that is for social development. And also they are funding for the empowerment of Panchayati Raj institutions. So these are the another group of actors of development. After that we call the NGOs. The NGOs, the fourth actor, they are also playing very important in social and economic development. They are the critical mass of organization. Those who are playing, suppose if you take the example of in India, in the context of Tamil Nadu, all the southern states where missionaries are playing very important role in education and health development. So this is NGOs are coming forward through either they are getting grant or from the donations. They are launching many development activities, and they are also helping to the government, and there is a public and private partnership also. Now we are calling that is another kind of development model, and there is another kind of interactions, interrelationship and intercoordination between government and private sector that has to play important role in development. And the most important actor now, it has been recognized worldwide, are the local self-government. They are another important actors of development. The Panchayati Raj institutions in rural areas and the urban local bodies in like municipal corporation, municipal council, the Nagar Panchayat, they are playing important role. And after the 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment, government has devolved power to the Panchayati Raj institutions. In case of rural Panchayati Raj, PRI, Panchayati Raj, rural area, the 29 items has been transferred to the Panchayati Raj institutions. Those who are playing important role. If you take the example of Kerala, again I am giving, where the decentralization has grounded well as compared to other states, where the 40% of their state budget directly goes to the panchayat. These are on-tied funds, where the panchayat prepare their own plan, and that is not only the poverty eradication, then education, health. They conduct need assessment, and after the need assessment, they allocate the fund in different sectors, and this is how the panchayat. That's why we don't have. If you'll see, there is a more rural-urban continuity in Kerala as compared to other states, because rural areas also equally coming up well in Kerala as compared to the other states, because of the proactive role of the Panchayati Raj institutions, because of devolution of functions, functionaries and funds to the Panchayati Raj institution. The social development is more in certain states, and if you'll see, and similarly the Jilla Parishad, because Jilla Parishad in certain states like Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, where Jilla Parishad is more powerful, they maintain and they have their own funds, sometimes they manage their own institutions. That's why the cities, if you see the cities of Uttar Pradesh, but Lucknow, Allahabad, even they are much better than cities of as compared to the Haryana and other state, northern because of the empowerment of the Jilla Parishad. They have a strong Jilla Parishad from very beginning. So Jilla Parishad plays very important role in the development of the cities and urban area. Jilla Parishad and municipalities, they play a very important role in the development of the urban areas, where the Panchayati Raj institution plays important role in the socio-economic development of the rural area. So these are the all actors, and they are basically, they are not acting for the economic development. They are acting for social, cultural development, which is ultimately promoting the economic development. So if you promote the social and cultural development, it will lead to more development, holistic development. So holistic development means not the economic development only. Holistic development means development, cultural, economic development, social development, political development, cultural development, and human development. So these are the different dimensions of development, where social development is very important. So let us the second point, after knowing all this, the different dimensions of development, how development and social development is one of the crucial dimensions of development. Now move to the social development itself. So social development from the very beginning, if you see the Durkheim, Comet, all the classical sociologists, they have emphasized on modernization and social revolution, social development for the upliftment of the society and upliftment of the nation. So earlier the sociologists have emphasized on the development aspect, the social development aspect. If you will have social development, automatically you will have more holistic development or economic development. So what are the real issues of social development? If you will see the social development, how social development can be brought, the first issue is, or first sector of social development is education. Because if a system, if you see that the society which has more education, whether it is literacy or tertiary education, if you have both the literacy rate as well as tertiary education, what we call the GER, gross enrollment ratio, if you have that, and also skill education, you see the Asian giants like South Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore, all these countries, they have very high literacy rate, and also they have very high skilled population, and their tertiary education level is also very high. If you will see the tertiary education, that is GER of India, it is only 11 to 15%. If you will see the US, it is 83%. And some of the developed countries like UK, it is more than 70%. So we have to emphasize on the tertiary education, and we have to emphasize on the literacy as well as the tertiary education, and on the skill education. So it will bring, education plays a very important role in development. But what is happening, because we have more number of illiteracy, and if you see the literacy rate, those who are where the literacy is very low, like Bihar and Chhattisgarh and all those states, and their development, if you see in terms of economic and other development, is lower than the states having more literacy rate. So literacy brings not only social development, it also helps education, whether it is literacy, skill education, or it is tertiary education, like it helps in total economic development, directly or indirectly helps in economic development. It adds to, because when people become literate, and these are the examples of Singapore, we have example of, and if you'll see the one of the development index, world development, world education index, if you say the Korea ranks 9, whereas India ranks 102. So this shows that our emphasis on education. So education, this the country, those who are promoted their education, all these three different type, formal, informal and non-formal education. Even non-formal and extension education plays an important role in social development. I am telling you, the Green Revolution 1970, and Punjab achieved a very high rate of agricultural growth rate, more than 8%, when their literacy was only 17 to 20%. It is through the extension education, it is through the non-formal education, Punjab achieved a very high literacy rate. Now they have more than 70% literacy, but the growth rate of agriculture is only 2%. So it is not only the formal education, sometimes we have to put emphasis on extension education, because extension development extension education, because why? Yeah, after spending a lot of money in the rural areas, for after independence we have common minimum need program, we launched several development programs for housing, for eradication of poverty, for employment, for safe drinking water, for sanitation, all those things, but we have not achieved what we have spent, because there is lack of development education among the people. You see, the Kerala makes a difference as compared to other states because of literacy and also development education. And who are the actors, those who play important role in development education? They are Mahila Mandas, they are youth club, they are panchayat, those who are playing important role and they are functionaries, development functionaries working at the grassroots level. They promote development education among the masses. So development education is very much important for social and economic development, and it is not that necessarily that higher education. If you can have strong extension education program, if you have strong non-formal education program, we can also promote development in the society. So that this is one dimensions of development. So education is one of the important dimensions of development. And if you see the literacy rate of once I was emphasizing that Haryana having 68% of women literacy rate, whereas if you see the Kerala, it is 93%, more than 30%. So their social development automatically and women empowerment in terms of workforce participation, their per capita women income is higher than that of the Haryana, so or Punjab. So this is one important dimension. So we have to promote education for social development. The second is health. Health is another important, because society, because in order to develop this society, we must have better health. This society, those who have the population, the infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, death rate, morbidity rate, it lower, then they will have a healthy population. They can bring better social development. So health is one of the another second important indicators of social development, because if you want to bring development, you have to reduce infant. I used to give the example in my beginning of the lecture that if you see the infant mortality rate in Haryana, it is 55, in Kerala it is 11. So the infant mortality rate of Haryana is 5 times higher than that of the Kerala. So there is automatically the state which even the maternal mortality itself, we have only 5 to 7 maternal mortality and maximum 10 maternal mortality in Kerala, where other state if you see the Orissa, Bihar, other state, they have more than 100. So all these things determine determine their development. That means social development. If we have better health, better education, ultimately we will have the better social development and better economic development. And it is present, if you see all the Scandinavian countries, all the developed nations, they enjoy very, very high development indicators in terms of infant, lower maternal mortality rate, lower infant mortality rate, morbidity rate, like people suffering from tuberculosis, people suffering from cancer and all those diseases are lower as compared to the developing countries of South Asia like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and other countries also, African countries, sub-Saharan African countries, and the malnutrition. In health, it is one of the very important dimensions of health development. If you see, if you compare, there was a report by international agency that many people in some of the districts, if you see, are enjoying very lower malnutrition and hunger is very high in states like Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, and some other states. They are enjoying the malnutrition and nutritional status is very low as compared to other states. So this also depends, because if you have better nutrition, if you have healthy child, automatically they will be more productive as compared to the other study, because in African countries a study shows that the people, those who are suffering from STD and HIV/AIDS and all the sexually transmitted diseases are less productive as compared to the people, those who do not have all these diseases like tuberculosis and all these things. That means health also adds to the productivity. Definitely a healthy person can work more hours and can have more income as compared to those who are ill. They cannot work more, their strength is less as compared to, and so they cannot add more to the productivity. So this is the nutrition dimensions is one of the very important dimensions of development, or the health development. So this is the second dimensions of development. The third dimensions of social development is gender development, because if you'll see, because society as a whole, if you'll see the development, all the development indicators of the Scandinavian countries like Sweden, Finland, Denmark, all those countries, if you'll find the women development indicator in terms of political empowerment, the women representative in the parliament, their literacy rate, their workforce participation, all are higher as compared to the developing nations of Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, and South Asian nation states. That means the women has to be, if you compare in India also, in terms of literacy rate, in terms of workforce participation, in terms of health, the women, there is a discrimination, what we can call disparities, there is a inequality, gender inequality present very much, and we have to come across because if your 50% of the population are not productive, are not helping you in national development, then you will matter. It is obvious. If you see you take the example of Himachal Pradesh is a small state, and before 1969, when Punjab and Himachal Pradesh and Haryana, they are a single state. When they got separated, now you see the indicators of Himachal Pradesh are quite high as compared with to the Haryana and Punjab, because if you see, the Himachal is the only state having higher women workforce participation rate. So they are more mobile, they are more accessible, they are the social capital to that Himachal society. So this is women empowerment. If you see if you compare the women development index in several, except literacy, in all other aspects, even women in Himachal Pradesh doing better than that of the Kerala. This is another. Even if you have economic development, and if you see the poverty rate in Himachal, national figure shows that it is only 6.7%, and even lower than that of the Punjab poverty rate. So this is what the human development brings to the development of the society, the reduction of poverty. Because you cannot neglect 50% of the population. If you are neglecting, if you are denying their contribution to the society, then how will develop this nation? Those who have promoted. They should not be the active, passive beneficiary of the development. They should be the active participants of the development. They should contribute. This is what is called the inclusive development. Inclusive development means each individual, be it male, female, be it belong to socially backward, they have to contribute. We cannot say that they cannot. So if we bring to the women development, and we will have better society, we will have better social development, better family development, because it is usually say that if you educate an individual, you are educating a family. But if you are educating a woman, you are educating not only an individual, you are educating a family, you are educating the society, you are educating the state, and you are educating the nation, and you are fighting ably with the international. In the globalization era, you can be better fight, you can better compete with the other developed nation if we can promote the women development, what we call the women development or gender development, where we compare the development of women and in terms of health, in terms of workforce participation, in terms of education, in terms of political party. If you see that in India only 10.8%, 8 to 9% or 10% of women, they are in the political arena. So to in the legislative assembly or the parliament. If it's the Scandinavian country, Sweden, 45% of women are in political position. And if you'll see their portfolio, they are also enjoying very good portfolios. So we have to bring all the economic, social, political, and educational empowerment of women. And if we if we empower women, we can have a very empowered society, we can have better social development. So this is another third angle or third issues of social development. The another issue is youth and development. You see, most of us say that India has a demographic dividend. We have more youth population, and we should what we can exploit their we should energize them for the development purpose. And it is obvious that where the youth are more productive, any state or nation where the youth become more productive, more skilled, they will make more development. And even in some of the states where the youth club is more proactive in development process, they will have better grassroots level development. So we have to bring in youth into the development process, be they literate, be they educated or not educated, through different type of education, what I call through extension education or through non-formal education. We must bring to the mainstream of development. We must involve the youth in the development process, be it agriculture development, be it industrial development, be it service sector development. It's not that only one sector. So we have to, again, for the social development, we have to see all the three sectors where youth can play equally important role. It is not that only if they are in the rural area they must be engaged in agriculture sector. You see the Korea, for example, because their industrial sector in rural areas is very, very important. If you see the before 60s Korea and after that, you see the development where the youth plays an important role in rural industrial development, and the service sector also they are playing. So we have to involve youth in different sectors of development, be it primary, secondary, and tertiary sector. So youth in development is another important in social development. And the fourth, this is very crucial aspect of development, is to eradicate social inequalities. And that is what we call the empowerment of socially backward socially, economically backward, or social inequalities that we have in South Asia, particularly India. We have very stratified society. Our society is stratified on the basis of religion, on the basis of caste. We have several sub-caste even, and we have a stratified. If you go to the rural area, you will find in many states different caste groups reside in different clusters. So cluster living in another harmful effect on development. So we have to bring those who are social economically backward for the last several years, because we have also protective discrimination policies where we should not discriminate with social caste, social tribe, all this. We have to bring to them the development arena. We must have to totally eradicate all this social discrimination. I am giving if you'll go to again, I am giving example Kerala or giving example of Punjab, where the social discrimination is very society is less stratified as compared to the other state. If you go to Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Orissa and all those states, the society is more stratified. So where this society is less stratified, where there is less discrimination, or the gap between the different caste and in terms of their economic and social development is less, they will have definitely that society will develop faster than that the society where there is much more social discrimination. So these are all the different issues and dimensions of social development. And another aspect I am telling you what are the issues is to people's participation in development. The state which bring people's participation in development, that means we must consider people as a social asset. Why social asset or social capital? We must promote interaction between different caste groups where the interaction is blocked, because more stratified society, more there is less social capital. That means less interrelationship, less connectivity, less interaction between the different groups of people. So there will be definitely less development. Where the social capital is high, definitely the society will progress much better than society where we have less social capital. Means there is less interaction between the people, there is less interrelationship with the people. So these are the crucial issues in development. So after that, let us move. Who are the actors of social development? These are the issues development. Who can really bring social development in the society? So let us who are the actors of development. So because for the social development, for the socio-economic development, I can call, we have several actors. We started with from the very beginning. We had a very strong history, the civilizational history of Panchayati Raj institutions, because Panchayati Raj institution is not a new one. It is ingrained in our religious and cultural and also civilizational. It has a strong civilizational root, and we have Panch Parameswar. We called, whenever something goes wrong, the 5 people, they sit together and decide the fate of the rest of the people. So the 5, be they literate, be they having more agricultural land, or be they rich, or be they more educated, they come together and solve entire people. That is what we call Panch Parameswar. We consult the 5 people that later on developed in the Panchayati Raj institutions. So the Panchayati Raj institutions are the opinion leaders, what we can call the opinion leaders. Panchayati Raj institution is a formalized body, and opinion leaders are informalized. They can 4 opinion leaders, they can come together and solve all the social problem, be it dowry, be it any crime, be it any dispute or violence on property, anything. They will come together and solve the problem. So let us have a very strong, the state or the nations, those who have strong grassroots level institutions or local self-government, they can have definitely good social development. So these actors are the Panchayati Raj institutions, or what we can call the local self-government institutions. So this is number one. Then we have the Mahila Mandals. We have the Mahila Mandals. There are these are the government over the period of time realize the importance of women, and their self-help group, as you know, they have been constituted in rural areas where women 10 to 20 women, they come together and they start either business, or they motivate the women in different families on education, on health, on employment, all these things. So Mahila Mandals are playing very important. Mahila Mandal and self-help group. These are other institutions of social development. They are not working only suppose self-help group. They are not working only for the income, because in several states they are solving all other problems, social problems. I told you crime. Then dowry problem, then if there are any family dispute, if there is a difference in the family, in male, female, in whatever, they are playing very important, and they are also motivating the family, those who are less literate, to send their children for the education, for health care, for immunization, all these things, they are also playing very important role. The third is youth club. We have in many states they have very strong youth club. There is a Nehru Youth Kendra, and under that they have the constituted in many states. I have seen in Punjab also, where youth club are playing a very important role. They organize sports, they organize cultural program, they also play important role in educating the people on different dimensions of development, be it health, be it education. So youth club is another actor of social development. If you see the society, these are the opinion leaders. These are the four in case of the rural, be it urban society, be it rural society. All these actors, the opinion leaders, be it religious leaders. Suppose in case of Punjab, where the Gurudaras and all those people, they are playing very important role. Religious institution is another important actors of development. You see in some, I have seen in some of the villages where the Gurudwara, they used to they have the schools, they have the colleges, and they also help to the government and private and NGO sector in organization of health camp, health melas. So this is another, because it is a caste and religion. These are all they are inherent to the Indian society. We cannot even if we can only bring to them to the development process, and then they can play a very important role, provided we involve in a great way in the social development process. So these are the 5-6 indicators of development in different society. It varies from the society to society, from state to state, from nation to nation, but these are the 5 important actors of development. Then finally, which I want to emphasize on, what are the critical challenges of development? Because development is facing a lot of challenge, social development and particularly social development, because we are dealing with the social development, the dimensions of social development. I discussed the dimensions of social development, the issues of social development, the actors of social development. What are the challenges? Because what I feel, because after all the 3-4 critical challenges of social development, the first is inclusive social development. Because you see, in the South Asia, particularly in India, we have a very stratified society. Our societies have been stratified on the basis of religion, on the basis of caste, on the basis of class. So in such a stratified society, So the inclusive development is very, very important. Because why we call inclusive development? Because what we feel, the development without inclusive development is incomplete. It is not sustainable. Because it's not that we should consider some group as the parasite. They are only beneficiary. No, we cannot consider them the beneficiary, be it scheduled caste, be it scheduled tribe, be it women or backward minorities. We cannot consider them. They have to contribute to the social development. So they have to contribute. We must the society which is more inclusive, which consider the contribution of all the groups, be it caste and religious group equally. That is a major challenge. So inclusive development, inclusive social development, where all the another angle of inclusive social development is giving equal emphasis on all sectors of development, be it education, health, and all the basic need aspects like sanitation, drinking water. We must have to holistically developed. So all the sectors should be inclusive. We must say no. We have developed this sector. We cannot have. So all the sectors has to be included in the development. All the actors has to be included in the sectors of development. I told that there are 4-5 actors. They must be included. They must be. If there are no actors, we have to encourage those actors in that society and include them in the development process. And so we must consider all the groups, be they backward, socially backward. We must consider them as the asset of the society. We must see, the nation must see, the state must see how they can contribute to the development process, how they can contribute the economic growth rate, how they can contribute the national income, or if we can inclusive social development. That is a great challenge before the nation states, particularly the states having more stratified society, number one. Number two is marginalization. So we have it's a socialization. From the very beginning we have marginalized. There are certain groups being based of the caste. Even within the caste, there are certain caste groups, those who are more marginalized, what we can call the criminal of the. There are certain groups, they are called the creamy layers, and they are called the deprived. So again, there is within the marginalized section also we are further marginalized. So we have to see those who are poorest of the poor, those who are more marginalized in terms of economic development, in terms of social development. In terms of social development means again they have the poor health status, their literacy rate, their tertiary education status, all are lower. So we have to that marginalized section of the society. Who are the marginalized in Indian country? It may be the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. We can call the women. Women also more marginalized in certain society. If you see the marginalized rural women, they are more marginalized as compared to the urban women. And in the rural women also we will give, when we will see again in certain caste group women are more marginalized. So we have to see how these 3-4 groups, be it even within the religious group also, there are certain groups, certain section of the society, particular religious group, they are more backward, socially and economically more backward as compared to the other caste group. So we have to see how those marginalized should be brought to the mainstream, so that they contribute to the social development. They contribute ultimately through social development to the economic development. So marginalization, we have to deal with the marginalization. The groups, those who are more marginalized, this is also a great challenge before the nation states. Where the states which were facing more marginalization, they have to have certain policy formulation to governmental measure, because you see market cannot deal with the marginalized. I am telling you, because why government came, why government and public sector, why government is important. Government is important to deal with these two things, inclusive development and marginalized. So here we cannot get justice in the private or the market. It is the government who has his responsibility to bring the marginalized to the mainstream, so that they contribute to the society. They should not be considered as parasite to development. They should consider the assets of development, the contributors of development, the promoters of development. So all these things we have to marginalization. Then third is very important is social capital, which is being emphasized by international agencies like World Bank, that we must social capital. It is very, the values we have to protect, the values, the norms in the society, because all these things are very important. If it is dwindling, we have to protect, we have to promote, so that you see there are cultural living. I have conducted one study, because I am telling you that you might be knowing the Gaddi community in Himachal Pradesh. What I found, they are men, they are the sheep rearing activities, but that culture is day by day vanishing in Himachal Pradesh. What I found, the study, those who have stick to that profession, and those who have left that profession and come to other activities, other casual labor or other activities, we will find, I find there is a difference in their standard of living, their income. Those who are Gaddi community, those who are sticking to that, have stick to that profession, they enjoy better lifestyle. They have more income as compared to those who are left and switch over to the casual labor activities. That means cultural living again has a value, but it is dying down society. So we have to see how because that's why I am telling you the social program requires social anesthesia. It's not that we have to see society, we have to see the demographic factors, we have to see the composition of population there and act accordingly. And here not the market, because it is the government which has to take the responsibility. So you see, if you will see all the Scandinavian countries, the education is totally free, even higher education. I had been to Finland, I find Finland, even their engineering and higher education is free. So all these aspects of social capital means interrelationship. We have to promote the interrelationship, communication. You see, if you see at the rural, even some caste group, they don't communicate with the other caste group. That is where the blockage, social blockage. We have to destroy that blockage. We have to promote inter-community interaction, so that one should learn from others, so that society as a whole develop. We should not consider one group as totally detached from the mainstream. So this is social capital are another challenge. How state can promote its social capital? So they should consider their population, be it women, they belong to the social economically backward community, as social capital, and promote intercaste, intergroup, intergender communication. That is what, so that we can bring development. So these are all different dimensions of development, all these angles of development. So we can promote sustainable development if we have more social development. So social development is one of the important aspects of sustainable development. We cannot say sustainable development only environment, and one of the angle of sustainable development is society. When we call the society, we have to take all these indicators. Even UNDP and even international organizations have considered the social dimensions, literacy, education, demography as important dimensions of sustainable development. So better social development will bring more sustainable development. We will make the development more sustainable, not, and that is what is required. So these are different called different dimensions, different issues, different challenges of social development. So
well, you explained all the things. What is now we mean by exactly what the development constitutes? Not only we should see alone the economic development. Now we see the social development. Rather, we need a balanced approach, which really reflect the kind of developments.
Yes.
That model we need to adopt. So, what is that model?
You see, I'll tell you, in the midnight day of the independence, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, he told that the real development means, because they means we must remove
Right.
illiteracy, ill health, insanitation, poverty, hunger, all these things. And so long as they are there, our challenge is there.
Okay.
That means holistically he gave the concept. If you see the speech of our first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, he completely told we need more development. He has never emphasized, and he told that through this kind of, if you remove poverty, if you remove illiteracy, ill health, insanitation, and if you provide safe drinking water, ultimately we can promote the economic development. So economic development, you see, the growth is a developed country concept.
Okay.
The people from they say that the growth
Because
has
they
a
are
trickle down effect.
Trickle-down.
So trickle down effect does not work in most of the developing countries.
Right.
That's why we should developing countries should have their own model of development.
Right.
They should not right away they cannot adopt the Western model. So. So third world countries should have their own model of development. That and development as for them, development is a multidimensional concept, and they have to emphasize on all these cultural dimensions, political dimensions, human dimensions of development, all these, and inclusive dimensions.
So that's why now that we find the term sometimes sustainable development, then inclusive growth and all this, so that we combine together all the these aspects which have been left out over the years, and now we include them, and then we move on the path of progress.
Yeah.
So, but as you said that the different country or the development countries had their own way of looking at the problem. So I think the government is taking into this account and have formulated their own policy considering the recommendation of Planning Commission and the Development Council. So I think in the coming days the things will be better and we'll have a holistic development. So well friends, with these words we'd like to conclude the lecture. I thank all of you for watching lecture, and on behalf I thank Dr. B.K. Patnaik for giving such a wonderful lecture on this great topic. Thank you very much.